Gates upon gates, leading to gates, leading to gates. This is a video of metaphysical science. More precisely, this is a video of Infernal Metaphysics of the Left-Hand Path. Today is Saturday, August 16th, 2025, and I am your host, Dr. Murphey, and today I'm going to be leading you through a kind of pathworking through the 7 chambers leading to the Black Sun. And the way that we're going to be doing this is through negotiating the Vampyre's Castle. Any vampire worth their weight in gold has a castle, and that castle is their temple. And that temple is the most important to them. For it is their external sanctuary as well as their internal sanctuary. It is the external temple of the castle as well as the internal space between the temples. And so this video is going to be exploring the Vampyre's Castle, and this is going to be a kind of pathworking through the chambers of the castle, leading to the Black Sun of Apotheosis, a pathworking involving allegory, symbolism, science, metaphysics, shadow. And so we're going to be passing through 7 gates. 7 gates leading through 7 chambers, and each of these chambers has its own function and its own unique offering of power to the vampire. And they are all contained, all of these 7 chambers, within the Vampyre's Castle. So without further ado, let us begin. And so we begin at 1, the gates of Saturn. And so at the first gate, the gates of Saturn, we find ourselves standing at gates that look to be iron, but upon touching them and feeling them and rubbing our hands across them, the way that we describe them is a little bit strange, because they don't feel so much as iron as they do time. These gates are made of a substance that has mass. It is matter. But it is matter whose mass has been slowed down by Saturn's gravity. And upon these gates, we find 3 concentric circles carved into each of the 3 doors of the gates. The first is the unobserved wave of potential. The second circle is the collapsed form of manifestation, and the third is entropy's claim of decay. Now, when we place our palm upon the door and our flesh meets the metal, the hinges do not creak, yet our heartbeat does, and it descends into a steady 3-beat cadence, as if the castle itself is entraining our body with its own clock. The Empress Leviathan coils in the shadow of the threshold, not to forbid us from entering, but simply to measure us before we come in. Now, within thermodynamics, no system defeats entropy. However, in the great work, the magnum opus of the vampire, we learn to eat it. Immortality here is not denial of death, but it is the metabolism of endings, digesting loss into fuel and recycling entropy into information. This sounds incredible, ridiculous, impossible, but this is the way of the vampire. Breathe, 3, 6, 9. In for 3, hold for 6, out for 9. On the exhale, imagine time decelerating in your bones. You are not a leaf in the river, you are the sluice gate. Now we come upon the second gate, number 2, the Hall of Mirrors. And as we pass through this gate, we enter a room with 7 mirrors forming a heptagon. Each frame is a planetary metal. So each of these mirrors has its own frame, and each frame is unique unto itself, unto each mirror. The first of the mirrors has a frame made of lead corresponding with Saturn. The second, a frame of tin corresponding with Jupiter. The third, iron corresponding with Mars, and so on. And we have gold corresponding with the sun, copper with Venus, Mercury with Mercury, silver with the moon. And as we pass by all of these mirrors, the air changes temperature. We can feel this. Mars is warm. Luna is cool. Venus smells faintly of myrrh and skin. None of these are reflections. They are standing waves of you, yourself. Probability states frozen long enough to be seen. Lady Lilith, Queen Lilith, moves between panes like a pressure change. Her fingertip draws a sigil in the condensation. The mark appears in every mirror at once. This is our lesson in entanglement. By altering one aspect of the self, the whole constellation reconfigures. It's all connected. It is a web. All is energy, all is mind, all is connected. The predator, as the vampire being a predator, right? If you want to be the best, that means you are the predator. You must learn the dual nature of the particle, mask and essence, disguise and signal. To hunt, as the vampire does, as the predator, is to select which eigenstate collapses in the eyes of the prey. Soften your gaze. Let peripheral vision bloom. Pick one mirror. Step close until your breath fogs the glass. Ask it for the version of you that feeds with precision and leaves no rot. Each mirror is a lesson. We are getting deep into Infernal Metaphysics now. And now we come upon the third gate, door 3, the banquet of Venus in Scorpio. And as we pass through this gate, through this door, we find an obsidian table that runs the length of the entire hall. And upon it are 6 chalices arranged in a hexagon. The geometry of bonding. Think of snowflakes, benzene, honeycombs. Each of these perfect and beautiful natural representations of the hexagon. And each cup holds living light. And this light is warm, but it's not warmed from heat, but rather from bioelectric coherence. and the surface flickers like an aurora trapped in glass. Duchess Astaroth presides with a scientist's calm and speaks. Attraction is curvature. Desire bends the field. And so you taste each chalice. Eros, fear, adoration, grief, awe, triumph. All are calories in the subtle body, but each cooks differently. Each has its own temperature. The adept does not gulp it down. The adept distills it, drawing high-grade signal, leaving noise. This is metabolic sorcery. What you drink rewrites your blood's electromagnetic signature, encoding memory as alignment. Choose one frequency, sip with the nose, according to chemistry, the tongue according to biology, and the heart according to the electric field. Pull only what makes your core more coherent. And so we come upon the fourth gate, the library of shadows. And as we pass through this gate and enter through this door, we find shelves that are climbing beyond geometry, lit by 9 black candles. The books here are not paper, however. They're something different. They are something made of condensed thought, lattices of meaning vibrating beyond the physical, visible spectrum. And when you touch one, text pours into you, not through eyes, but through resonance. Words are not read, they are inhabited. King Samael is here, and he sketches letters in the dust. They reorganize when you blink, much like in a dream, even in a lucid dream. They are like morphic fields rearranging under attention. In this chamber, you learn that knowledge is caloric. Information lowers internal entropy. Memory is infrastructure. Reading is quantum tunneling into author states across centuries. Each volume you truly assimilate becomes a module in your architecture, a new corridor, a hidden stair, a reinforced door, a new way of being, a new reality. Do not hoard, rather assimilate. Pick one spine that you cannot name, press it to your sternum, and breathe. Breathe until its rhythm and yours phase lock. Now, speak one line aloud and own it. Just one line. Speak it aloud. One line. Own it. We are nearly there. In fact, we are coming upon the fifth door, the fifth gate, which leads to the door leading to the chamber of the veil. And in opening this gate and opening the door and passing through it, we find ourselves upon 13 steps, descending down to a round pool that is dark as a pupil. However, the water here isn't liquid. It is a phase boundary, a membrane between states. And floating upon it is a veil of black silk that turns like an accretion disk at the edge of a singularity. Cross it, and nothing returns unchanged. Lord Emperor Lucifer waits on the far shore, not as a candle, but rather as collapse. Physics says that information entering a black hole is not destroyed. It is written onto the horizon in another language, the event horizon. The right here is the same. Identities are lossy compressions. You surrender the human codec and accept a vampiric one. An identity that is more efficient, more selective, and this is most interesting and I believe most important, an identity that is just more hungry, an identity that has a kind of insatiable appetite. Name what must die and place it upon the water and watch the veil slowly draw it under. Now, when you emerge, speak your private name, that name that you alone know, that you alone have created, and that name that does not require or need any witnesses. All right. We are now entering upon the perfect number of 6. This is the 6th gate, the observatory of the moon and Jupiter. We are able to open the gate, pass through it, and open the door. And we find 18 silver steps spiraling into open night. And there is a telescope, a beautiful telescope. It is carved of onyx and is inlaid with lunar silver. And its optics don't magnify light. Okay, I thought that's what a telescope did. It magnifies light. Well, not this one. It magnifies probability. Whoa, this is interesting here. Now we have a telescope here, carved of onyx, black onyx, inlaid with lunar silver, silver of the moonlight. And it does magnify, but it doesn't magnify light. It magnifies probability. Now, through it, stars look back, almost as if they are observers as well as we are. Both of us observing each other across this kind of linked cosmos. As above, so below. All is mind, the universe is mental, all is interconnected, all is energy. It is a web, it's all connected, all is one, all is mind. King Belial here turns the wheel. He knows what's going on. He's been here a long time. It is only we who are new in coming here. But King Belial, well, he is the harsh teacher, is he not? King Belial turns the wheel, and of course he has a slight smile because of his experience and wisdom and knowledge and knowing way more than we do. And he speaks that to escape a gravity well, you must first fall deeper and then sling. You must first fall deeper and sling. Okay, so we study tidal mathematics about how the moon modulates human biofields, how Jupiter amplifies whatever it touches, how gravitational slingshot maneuvers turn something like descent, falling into the body through its gravitational pull, this gravitational descent, turning it into escape. NASA does this with its probes, gaining velocity from falling descent, feeding off of the orbits of bodies. So the lesson here is predation as a kind of orbital mechanics. You're leaning into the pool, whether it be gravitation, emotion, shadow, and then you're harvesting the momentum. You're becoming a farmer. Imagine the vampire as a farmer. Dracula with the kind of farmer's hat and overalls. And then you're redirecting it with intent. You don't need to flee this heaviness. You just need to metabolize it into thrust. So you're beginning to understand what we're talking about here with vampirism, what the vampire is. They're taking all of the stuff, all of that shadow, repressed, suppressed, negativity, negative energy, all of the stuff that most people push away, suppress, repress, flee from, and they're turning it into energy. They're feeding upon it. They're harvesting it. They're redirecting it. They're channeling it, and they're alchemizing it. Dracula, how did he become Dracula? Because there's many variations of the story of Dracula, but they pretty much all begin with someone who, started as a man and later became a vampire, and a very successful vampire at that. He's Dracula. He's like the best of the best. He's the king vampire. He's Dracula. Well, how did he get to that? And it depends on the author and the story, but something happened between him being a human and him becoming a vampire. That's the one thing we know. The second thing we know is whatever path he took, it's way different from any path that normal humans take, because every other human is scared of that stuff. They shy away from it. It's the shadow, it's the darkness, it's the left-hand path, it's the devil, it's the demons. They shun all of that, and they go about their own lives, and they live their mortal lives, and they die. But Dracula continues to live, continues to gain power. He continues to gain light and power and intelligence and beauty, despite being totally within the darkness, within of the left-hand path, but all of the stuff that we deem to be negative, that the populaces, the masses, they hate. He's within that, and yet he's coming out of it so pure, so reborn, so full of vitality. And the others of the humans, the masses who shun all of that, call it evil, the devil, demon, sin, whatever they call it, negativity, they continue to get old and get sick and die and suffer. And it was very interesting. Orbital mechanics. You're not fleeing that heaviness. You're metabolizing it into thrust. So there comes a time where your inner daimon speaks, time the breath to the moon. Time your breath to the moon. In on the silver swell, out on the black draw. Identify one heavy thing below you. Drop into it on purpose, intentionally, and then turn and ride the curve out. Orbital mechanics. Okay, well, now we are to the 7th gate. And this is the throne of the Black Sun. This is the 7th and final gate, the throne of the Black Sun. We open the gates, open the door, enter through it, and we enter into a chamber without walls. Very paradoxical. It is a chamber without walls. In every corner we look, not even corner, every wall we would gaze upon, there is no wall, there is just horizon. Horizon in every direction. Filled with stars, so many stars they are like ash. And in the center there is a throne of meteoric iron, like stuff older than Earth, forged in the depths of other suns. You know what I'm talking, like just made of like old stuff. And you go to it and you sit upon it, and when you sit upon it, the horizon slows and then it kneels, and then you feel your heart sink to a deeper pulse. This is the metric of space-time catching your rhythm. And now you find Lord Pluto standing behind you. You don't even see him. You never sense with any of your five senses his approach, but yet you know he's there because there is suddenly a silence with weight, and you feel it. And the black sun, which is why we're here, the black sun is not a symbol of gloom. The black sun is not a symbol of gloom. It is the star in inward phase. It is radiance, right? Radiating light, which stars do. They radiate light outward into the cosmos. However, with the black sun, you have the light radiating within. It is inverted. It is inverted into a kind of irresistible pull. This, we're talking about a black hole here, a black sun. Sovereignty here, right? It is not. So you got to understand the metaphor here, the symbolism. The black sun. What is the black sun? As everyone talks about, not everyone, but you barely hear about it spoken of anymore, the black sun. There's so much stigma around it. But it has always been a thing, and you know when you hear it, when you hear somebody speak of the black sun, however much or however little you know about it, you feel its power, even just hearing the word black sun spoken of, even just thinking about it for a moment. You know there's so much power there. So what are we talking about with the black sun? Because it is a star. And everybody's talking about stars and light and radiance. But here we're inverting that. It's the inverted pentagram, the inverted pentacle, the inverted light, light in the darkness. And here, sovereignty is not like, and we say, oh, the black sun is evil. No, don't get it wrong. This is power. But it's not an evil way. This is not the evil way. This is the true path to sovereign power, because sovereignty here is not domination of others. It is perfect control of one's own entropy. And from that, all other dominions follow. Seal 3 oaths. The will, by choosing your own vector. Silence, by keeping your own heat. And reciprocity, by turning what you refine. And by doing this through will, silence, reciprocity, the Ouroboros closes. And then, instantaneously, you are no longer in the castle. The castle is in you. And now, when you rise, nothing collapses. The architecture persists because you now carry its constants. Your breath is now a metronome. Your attention acts as a lens. And your hunger, your insatiable appetite is the engine. Knowledge is your mass. Surrender is your slingshot to put things into motion. And your silence is golden. Silence is golden. Silence is golden. Your silence is your gravity. Now, to the uninitiated, I hope you've enjoyed this. This is just an interesting story. However, to the others, you know this as protocol. If you have made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Ex tenebris lux propria. Light in the darkness. I am Dr. Murphey, the founder and infernal hierophant of the Order of Plutosophia. If you'd like to learn more about us, who we are, what we do, you can visit us at plutosophia.com. I'd also suggest, because it does really help us out, if you would subscribe to this channel. And if you enjoyed the video, give us a like. Also, comment, just be civil and respectful and polite. But, I would really love to see some, great discourse and debate going on in the comment section. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'll see you in the next one. Have an infernally blessed day.